What's going on YouTube? Mr. Wheels here once again, welcoming you to another edition of Sports Talk. In this episode, we're going to continue to look at the 2015 World Junior Tournament and the gold medal game specifically. I'm not going to talk very much about the bronze medal game because I was a little late with this video and it's already underway. I will talk a little bit about that, but as always, I want to recap my previous video, the semifinal predictions that I did, and talk about the outcome of that. Be sure to click the annotation there to check out the semifinal video. So in the first semifinal, you had Sweden and Russia, and I said in my previous video that Russia needed a better effort than they had against the Czech Republic in their last preliminary round game, and that they might have been a little bit more hungry than Sweden, or that's what I was at least trying to get at. And sure enough, they come out and they whoop Sweden 4-1. And I say they whoop them because absent from the score sheet in that game was William Nylander and Oskar Lindblom, who were catalysts for the Swedish offense throughout the tournament, and now Sweden is now playing for bronze currently, and they are actually behind to the Slovaks 2-1 in the first period. I only got to check that game briefly before I did this game, or before I did this video. Moving on to the second semifinal game, obviously Canada-Slovakia. I think we all knew what the outcome was going to be there, but what troubled me in that game was how close the Slovaks kept that game for as long as they did. Only 1-0 after the first period. And, you know, I was late doing this video because I was watching a sports show and they were talking about how people were panicking that it was only 5-1 for Canada against Slovakia. And, you know, there's no reason to be worried. But let me just point out this. You know, Canada, to this point in the tournament, the gold medal game, basically the end of the tournament, hasn't really been tested. They've played Slovakia, Finland, Denmark, you know, teams like that really, well, and the USA, obviously. I forgot to put them in there, but, you know, other than maybe the USA game, where it was kind of close until the end, and it was really just a couple bad giveaways on the U.S. part, Canada really hasn't been tested. But if you remember the pre-tournament game against Russia, Canada had over 50 shots. 50 shots that were stopped by the Russian goaltender, and Zach Fucale only had like 20 to 25, and they ended up losing in overtime. So what does that tell you? To me, it tells me that Canada is in possibly way over their heads in some respects. I'm not saying that they won't win. I'm not saying that they can't win. But what I'm saying is people need to take a step back and look at this game that, you know, if Canada gets behind, which I think there's a good possibility that they could, that we could have, you know, a reenactment of what happened in, I believe it was like 2009, where they were meeting Russia and Russia came back in the third period and beat them. My overall point is this: you cannot take the Russians lightly at all. I mean, they did not have a very good preliminary round. They only beat the USA 3-2, but they were ahead in that game, and I believe they were up 3-1 in that game, so the USA just made it close 3-2. And then they come out in the semifinals and whoop Sweden and keep arguably the two best Swedish players off the score sheet. That's nothing to sneeze at. The Russians have a good team, and they're probably the only team in this tournament that matches Canada skill-wise. Now, the saving grace for Canada is not Zach Fucale. I'm going to put it on the DDR line. Now, that's Reinhart, Duclair, and Domi. And it's that line that takes a lot of pressure off of Connor McDavid and Sam Reinhart, which allows Reinhart and McDavid to have had the type of tournament that they have had. And, you know, if the DDR line can get their shit together and come out with a good effort, you know, then Canada's got a chance. I screwed that up. Sam Reinhart is only on the power play with Connor McDavid. McDavid, I believe, is on a line with Braden Lapointe and some other guy. Doesn't matter. But my point is the DDR line does take a lot of pressure off of Connor McDavid, who, by the way, I want to point out, Connor McDavid is a way better playmaker than he ever is, than I would ever say he is a pure scorer, which is a good thing for Canada because they're not going to have Robbie Fabry in this game, and you know, so if McDavid's able to set up guys like Braden Lapointe, great. And I just want to talk about the defense for Canada. That's where I would say if they had an edge anywhere, it would be on defense. I think Canada easily has the best defense in this tournament. But goaltending wise, I'd say give Russia the edge based on what happened in the pre-tournament game. I know it was just a pre-tournament game, and lots of people will just, you know, shrug that off. But to me, it wasn't nothing. They had 50 shots on the Russian goaltender, and they only scored 2 goals. Like, that's something to be concerned about. That can't happen again. And offensively, forward-wise, I would say that Russia's even with Canada. And I'd say maybe on a defensive aspect, for forwards, Canada has the upper hand because we got guys like Sam Reinhart and Braden Lapointe who are more responsible defensively. But, you know, and on the fact that, you know, Russian players don't seem to be as defensively responsible as some players from some other countries. But all in all, I'm going to give you my prediction. And I usually don't like to give an outright prediction, but here it goes. Canada will win in overtime 5-4, and they will have to come back in regulation and tie it up. I could see them being down, you know, 2-0, 3-1 easily. That's how much emphasis I will put on the Russian offense and the fact that they have a good goaltender. Not saying that Canada doesn't have a good team. Obviously, they made it this far, and it's the best team they've had in probably 5 years. But this game is going to be a lot closer than people think. That's my prediction. 5-4, Canada in overtime. Go Canada, go. I want them to win gold. I'm just saying that it's going to be a close game, guys. So if you've stuck with me to this point, please, as always, please give this video a like, and please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at Sledgehead86, and give my Facebook fan page a like, Mr. Wheels86. I'm going to go watch the rest of the bronze medal game, guys. Enjoy the gold medal game. I'll see you next time.